Alright, guys, what's up? It's Kage. Welcome to Vantuber Episode 3, where I finally got the man who I must talk about at least once every video, the infamous cyberknight 8610. What's going on, Cyb?
Oh, you use the numbers.
Yep. I actually made a custom card I need to print out and mail to you for your fan mail. The card name is Cyberknight, Attack and Defense 8610. The effect is, let me see if I can remember this. At the end of your turn, search your deck for one hollow card, reveal it to your opponent, and try to pronounce it. If you pronounce it correctly, add it to your hand and shuffle your deck.
Oh, if you mispronounce it, you lose the duel.
No, if you
That's gonna be a
mispronounce,
lot of losses for me.
if you mispronounce, wait, are you sure about that? I heard that you're a English and Japanese specialist when it comes to speaking the languages.
Oh yes. I try my best, but sometimes I swear they just make up some names just to mess with me. Especially too, I think I'm actually probably worse with card fight. You know, the times I've tried to do card fight videos, I'm like, ooh, they're gonna hate me. That's what I always think whenever I do a video on that, because it's like anyone that actually knows these names is just gonna get so sick of me.
Are you kidding me? I own a Yasue deck and I can never pronounce half the cards in that.
Just like the bird person card. Finally trying to come up with anything instead of trying to pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm that same way. It's like, I think I can pronounce this card. Yozo, this guy.
Yeah, it's like no, they're just messing with me now.
Yeah,
None of these are words anymore.
exactly. And I know we were talking before, and I had met, I bring up your channel a lot. I actually did a video on how I got into Vanguard, and this was your big and collectibles video. You got the packs for like Card Fight, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Y Short, stuff like that. I even put in the
Hmm.
comments, I'm like, what is this Card Fight? I had never really heard of it.
And then the beginning of the addiction, basically, right?
Yep, I need my cardboard crack.
Oh yeah.
And I looked into it, and I remember because I was so used to how Yu-Gi-Oh works, so I put in how to build a Vanguard deck. And then I got my first guest who I found, Black Moon Dragon. I found his video because I didn't know what a clan was. I never heard of clans or anything like that.
Yeah, I remember the older card fight. Like me and my friends were playing it whenever the cards were just in Japanese because we were watching the anime and stuff. Then I know everything though has changed now, so I
Yeah,
I have no clue what's going on now.
we have I like. There's a joke. I'm not sure if it's the whole Vanguard community, but the joke for at least the Vanguard Bastion deck is Morikawa got a job at the card manufacturer in the Vanguard world, and that's why Bastion exists.
Uh,
Because we all know Bastion. Oh my God, not Bastion. Morikawa loves his grade threes, so it only made sense. Morikawa built a whole deck to work with grade threes.
that sounds pretty interesting. I remember him on there. I don't guess I've seen this new deck or clan or whatever.
Yeah,
Basically, I don't
true.
keep up though with card fight. I saw those new um what's her name? That starter deck I opened up the last time
Yeah,
of card fight, and I got interested in that one, but I don't know what's good or bad or
yeah.
anything on that.
So I know you used to do. You had three channels. You had your Cyberknight Games, Cyberknight CCG, and then Cyberknight, which is now your just main channel. Do you
Hmm.
plan on doing any Vanguard stuff? Because I know at least me personally, I'm not sure about the wide audience, but for me, I really do enjoy the Vanguard side of things, as well as I know
Uh,
you did that those types of videos a lot.
hmm I'm not really sure. If I guess if something interests me, I probably would. It's just right now with everything going on, I'm trying to keep up with the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, and there's been enough crazy stuff going on in the world with that, with that as well. And I've actually been collecting a lot of Pokemon. I find myself collecting a lot of that again, which I've planned up maybe a few openings. It's just the only negative really is that if I open up anything that's not Yu-Gi-Oh, it does not do as well, and sometimes people even get mad at me, which is just crazy.
Which makes no sense because I mean, it's when I started YouTube, I actually kind of a fun. I've told this story before, but when I started YouTube, I did all sorts of random reviews. I did Hess trucks, I did fidget cubes, I did my very first Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile, which was I think everybody's deck at some point, the 60 card mash deck where you just put all the cards you like into one deck and hope to God it works.
Yeah, basically, what are my strongest cards? This is the only way
The
I can duel, kind of thing.
the Joey deck.
Yeah.
And then as I started playing more, I started developing my own. I discovered I never thought I would like Control, but I've been playing Altergeist and Glitch. I really like the way the decks play, but at my roots, I'm a very aggro beatdown type deck guy. So, like, I have a Talker OTK, and I have, Rockets, which are more kind of mid range, but they can beat down pretty easily.
Hmm.
And so this actually, I'm kind of curious. How did you get into the card fight game? I know we were talking about that. You had said you played in the Japanese, but how did you actually discover the game from and actually get into it?
Basically, I have some friends that I've had now for years and years that I met online, and they always watch. Seems like any kind of new anime that comes out, and they told me about Card Fight, and that's basically how I got into it. Because I was like, oh, okay, I'll check out this anime because they usually do that. They watch almost every anime, and like, okay, you need to check this one out or this one. And when I have the free time, and when I did have more free time, I would try to watch whatever they suggested. And yeah, that just happened to be one of the ones that I was actually suggested. So I ended up checking it out, even buying some of the Japanese packs, and we really liked how, especially at the beginning, how it felt more realistic because when Aichi would go like to a card shop and actually use what he would get and everything, um,
Yeah,
we all seemed to really enjoy that because it was kind of a good departure too from what we've seen on Yu-Gi-Oh, where it was more hey tournaments and all this kind of stuff, and then we're I'm gonna save the dimensions.
I the
It kind of
one
goes a little too far,
yeah
and you're like, what in the world?
the one thing I cannot stand with card game animes, and Yu-Gi-Oh is the biggest sinner to this, is the protagonist always bloody wins. I
Mhm,
absolutely hate it. It's like, it's almost. I mean, I get it. They need to keep it interesting. That's why I liked Aichi and Yuma. I hated Zexal. Like I got bored. I got really bored with it. Like halfway through season one, and people are telling me
mhm.
after the Heartland arc is when it gets good. But
Yeah,
I just
I,
can't. I can't sit through it. I just can't.
yeah, I tried to watch a little bit of it after that arc, and I just have a problem with any kind of show where people are like, "Hey, after you watch, 100 episodes, it's good." I'm like, "Then it's not good." It's how
Yeah,
I always feel, and I'm like,
that's
I don't always have the time to do that.
right. And I mean, for me, like Yuma and Aichi both were losing, and as they got better at the game and they got better cards, they started getting better. That's why I don't like. I'm probably gonna have a lot of people typing in my comments after this comment. Oh, but Yugi is the best character ever. I'm gonna say it. I cannot stand how Yugi always wins unless the plot requires him to lose. CL Void Calcos arc, anybody?
Yeah, that's still like my favorite arc, even though I guess the whole thing is technically filler.
Yeah,
It's like the best arc.
but my whole thing is I hate when they make a protagonist win all the time. Like it just does not feel real. Like I swear these characters are stacking their decks.
Oh yeah,
And that's why I don't like it. It's like, for example, in Cardfight Vanguard G, Chrono, when he was brand new to the game, yeah, he lost to Ibuki like twice, but he went up against the world's greatest, well, one of the world's greatest pro card fighters at the time, Jamie Alcaraz, or whatever his name was in the subbed. And
mhm.
Chrono wins. And
Yeah. I don't think I
honestly,
saw much of that season. I'm trying to remember what even happened.
yeah, I just don't like it when they write the protagonist to always win because it just doesn't feel realistic. Like like you see them hitting like critical triggers every single drive check. That's not
Hmm.
real. I mean, it can happen, thinking of OTT, but for the average, deck, like for example, my Luard, which just got hit on the ban list, I got a word. I'm thinking me and Bushy Bar are gonna have a word about that one. But like Luard, I'm not hitting criticals every single drive check. My Zodiac Time Beast, I'm not hitting criticals every single drive check. Like they write it so dumb where it's, oh, main character, I need two criticals to win. First check, critical. Second check, random insert card here. Get sweaty. Deck, respond. Third check, critical.
Oh god, yeah. It's almost like it makes you wonder if they're ever going to mess up on the anime, where if they have like I don't know 10 criticals at some point actually in the day.
I swear, I
It's like,
mean,
do you have that many?
yeah, it's one of those things where it's even like in Yu-Gi-Oh, where I feel like that's the bit like I'm not gonna lie, 5Ds is my favorite. I love Reigns. Is like two of my favorite decks came out of that being Code Talkers and Rockets.
Mhm.
But 5Ds was probably my favorite because card games on motorcycles.
Oh yeah.
And as a motorcycle, I'm a fan of motorcycles. I kind of got that from my grandfather. He used to take me on rides all the time. I do want a Harley. What I think I'm going to do, just as a joke, I want to buy a dual disc or make one. I'm going to put it onto my bike. I'm just going to take a picture of it and send it to my friends. Like, who wants to play some card games on motorcycles?
You need like a metal one that you weld to it somehow. That would probably look really cool. Actually, somehow you could come up with some kind of custom bike with one.
Yeah, but I don't think the police would appreciate that too much.
Ah, you just got to duel them.
Yeah.
Not
How's that one
this.
gonna work? Officer, I challenge you to a duel. To a what? To a duel. Are you high or drunk? No, officer.
Both. Oh wait. Oh no.
Yeah. So I think you've answered this in the past. I can't remember, but how did you start? Like, what gave you the inspiration to actually start your channel, or technically channels, back when you were uploading to all three?
Um, I just remember checking out YouTube, and of course, I had my lousy dial-up internet and all that, and being able to watch a video would like take all day. But I was trying to just go through there, and I was actually looking at videos, and I saw people uploading stuff about Yu-Gi-Oh. I was like, hey, this looks pretty fun, and I want to show different decks that I made. And so my first video on my previous channel actually was doing like some deck profiles, and I think it was Crystal Beast was like my first video technically on that channel, and I just kind of took off from there where I just started enjoying that, and then I saw the whole pack opening thing, and then I kind of ran with that a little bit more because I enjoyed the randomness, I guess. Being able to see what you can get. So I kind of got where I was more into that side of it,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then the news stuff because back then too, I'm sure you probably remember on some of this. I don't know if you were around for some like the beginning, like Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube stuff, but we didn't have anyone doing any kind of Yu-Gi-Oh news or anything.
Yeah,
So
I really didn't get into Yu-Gi-Oh that heavily until years later. I remember when I was like 8. This was back in like 2009. The videos I watched on YouTube were of Transformers animated toy reviews by a guy named PL. If you, because back then, like I was 8, I remember I was 8 years old. I had discovered Transformers, and I thought they were the coolest thing ever. They still are, in my opinion. I love
yeah.
Transformers. They're fun. I actually have. I remember years later, I wanted the Jet Twins, Jetfire and Jetstorm, and I actually bought the Japanese set. It cost me like 120 some bucks, but it was so worth it to have it. So I could never get it when I was a kid.
Yeah, I do that a lot with different things. I'm like, hey, I never was able to afford this as a kid, so now you gotta spend the money.
Which is it's worth it to me. It's like even though they kind of stay on my desk as like a display piece, I don't transform them much. but it's so cool just to like actually have them sitting on my desk, just kind of facing each other in jet mode. Just my child, I feel like my childhood is complete.
Yeah, it's good for that nostalgia. I mean,
Yeah,
it's fun to just have those kind of things.
yes,
Like I have a bunch of different figures, and like I have a lot of cards, but man, I have a lot of figures and old toys and stuff too.
yeah. I mean, I feel like we never try. You have two types of people in this world. You have the kids, and then you have the kids and the big kids like me, and then you just have the super responsible adult who says, "Oh, I don't need to buy toys," and just doesn't embrace the inner child.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta enjoy it because it's like I don't know, especially like I've said before, with everything going on in the world, it's kind of nice to have an escape and something you remember whenever there wasn't pandemics in World War III. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of a break and just go back to that time when you could just enjoy things, like Transformers or whatever.
Yeah, and then I remember I actually discovered your channel by actually it was by pure accident. I was scrolling through looking up different structure decks because I'm not sure if anybody does this aside from me, but what I like to do is when I'm interested in like a structure deck or interested in something, I'll go onto YouTube and I'll put in like let me just for example use Pendulum Domination. I'll put in like Yu-Gi-Oh Pendulum Domination structure deck, and then I'll look
Hmm.
at different videos to find out is this worth me spending the money to buy or should I pass?
Yeah.
And I was doing that with starter deck Yuya, and I had actually discovered your channel. And I couldn't remember the channel name, but I remembered the thumbnail design, and I just had to listen to the voice. And then
Hmm.
eventually I discovered, oh, this dude's name is cyberknight, cool. And then I ended up subbing, and then Reigns came out. I saw your video on the very first starter deck for Yu-Gi-Oh, and then I started playing Code Talkers when it was just decode and encode.
Yeah. And then the
And
addiction begins, right?
yeah, it's before I was playing a really. It was actually kind of funny. A friend of mine, I was playing like really weird decks, and my friend created a 40 card trap deck. So basically, he
Hmm.
was playing Altergeist and Eldritch before they were even thought of.
Yeah.
And he shut me down. And then what I did was I actually looked at all my cards I had from like the like one or two packs my dad would get me because I didn't have that much money at the time,
Mhm.
and the cards I would get from the structure decks, and I just threw something together that would work, and I was able to beat him. And then he just started running anti-spell for Egorns to counter me.
Oh gosh.
Funny enough,
Always fun.
funny enough, I actually run that in Altergeist, but yeah, and then I kind of then I saw your deck profiles and seeing where Code Talkers used to be, your very first Code Talker, well, Cyber's deck, as I guess it's called,
Hmm.
where it was we were running the Digitron, the Bitron, the Protrons, seeing how we used to have to run vanilla bricks just to get the deck to work, to now it's like you open up mining, parallel exceed, and any other three random cards, and you basically got full combo.
Yeah, well, you
So
can now link summon from the hand and all the other stuff. That it was like one of the few decks I actually like that involves link summoning. And most decks, and with link summon, I'm kind of like, like I didn't enjoy Dragon Link and that kind of stuff. But I
yeah,
do actually really like Code Talker and just like Cybers in general, because especially if you do like, bring out several different Code Talkers, it can just be really fun.
yeah, I know my end board. I remember my buddy thought I didn't have combo because I was able to keep a poker face. I'm like, damn it, this hand absolutely sucks. He's like, did you brick? I'm like, yeah, I did. Mining, discard, what's it called? Conflict, grab debug, debug grab, microcoder. 10 minutes later, use a token, go into Talkback Lancer. Oh, by the way, here's a free Ibly for you. So now you can't link. Now you can't Nibiru me. You can't do any sort of summoning aside from link. Also, because I knew the deck you would play. Also, oh, by the way, here's a dimension barrier, so you can't even summon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh
I've seen
gosh.
them. It's amazing seeing how Yu-Gi-Oh is. I wonder what would happen if a player from now with like imagine a player playing like Glitch or something went back in time to like to a tournament in 2004 and just completely dominated because it's like, "Oh, I summon this. Nope. Torrential Tribute. Get rid of that. Activate Scarlet Sanguine. Bring out Glitch. Oh, what's that? Bring out another Glitch train. Hit you for 2K. Rank up into the rank 11. Get 6K. Swing. GG."
Ugh, you're giving me flashbacks of Master Duel right now. That's how it normally is. It's just like, oh boy. When you
Yeah.
see them just place their whole hand on the field the first turn, you're just like, oh no. Oh boy.
Yeah, Master Duel, honestly, I think Card Fight needs an official simulator. It took Bushiroad forever to do it.
Yeah, I think every card game basically needs a simulator. I mean, it's shown that people enjoy things like Master Duel and
Yeah.
so I'd like to see a Digimon one. I guess the Magic the Gathering one, I think Arena is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
So, what would you say your favorite clan is in Vanguard? Honestly,
um, for me, probably Gold Paladins.
thought
I at
so.
first I really like Kagero, but I got where I really enjoyed Gold Paladins around the time of like Spectral Duke when that was a big thing. And I know that's not, everything's been reset and all this other crazy stuff, but I hadn't kept up with the new stuff, so I have no idea
I've
on that. I
never
don't think
heard.
Gold Paladins are a thing anymore.
What's Kagero? I only ever heard of Overlord the clan.
Oh yeah, I think I think of yeah, I think that's what it turned into basically, right?
I think that joke is about as overused as the nobody can figure out what pot of greed does.
Yeah,
And I
I hadn't
mean,
heard that one as much because I don't keep up with the card fight stuff as much, but I know I've seen it a few times where it's just like, oh yeah, I remember way before all that. Like of course, I played Kagero whenever it was just like the first two sets, I guess.
yeah, I remember seeing your reaction with draw PGs, which I really liked that idea. The draw trigger sentinels are probably the greatest invention ever.
Hmm.
I mean, granted, it literally gave you more deck building options, and now you have the Rye decks, which for a deck like Bastion, it would never work because Bastion is literally all grade threes minus your 16 triggers, your four grade one PGs, and then the grade 0, 1, and 2 in the Rye deck. Everything else is grade 3.
Hmm.
So it would
It's
never work.
it's funny too. Every time you say Bastion, I'm thinking of like the character from GX as well.
Yeah,
That's where
GX.
my mind goes every time.
Yeah, so this is probably one you've never been asked. How did you get, well, probably, but how did you actually get into Yu Gi Oh? And, like, how did you discover it and, like, get into the game in, like, total?
I guess basically like a lot of people did because people started bringing their cards to school, and that got me into the game. Because I was like, oh, what's this? I only really played like I had some Digimon cards and then Pokemon, and I didn't know what this game was. And one of my friends really got into it and watched the anime, and just kind of from there got more into it, which was kind of funny too because I was raised as well. Yu-Gi-Oh! One of those big things, which I know people still talk about, is how it was the devil. So I had family stuff too that was saying how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the devil, and I'm like, huh, now it's kind of my job. So
Yeah, imagine explaining that one to them. Oh, hey, well, hey, Sai, what do you do for a living? I do videos on children's trading cards.
I work for the devil. That's what it. Oh, basically.
Yeah, I know. I got into it. So I was watching the original anime, and I've told this story before, but I actually was in gym. We were doing something, and I had to jump. I forget why. I think there was like a hurdle or something. We were doing something with track and field, and I had to jump. It wasn't high, but I somehow lost my balance in midair trying to become Superman or Goku or something, and
Always fun.
I had actually like instead like you know how like you naturally put your hands out when you're going to fall to try to brace it.
Hmm.
I did that. I couldn't pull my arms in. It's like my body was locked in that position. So I hit the gym floor hard, is we were actually in the gym for this, and I slid and I broke my right pinky at the base, or no, it's my left pinky. Because of course it's always your dominant hand that things have to happen to.
Oh yeah, always fun to have to write. I'm sure after that.
Yeah, because I'm left-handed, so I couldn't do anything. And trying to
Yeah.
do things with my right hand, forget it. Me trying to write with my right hand is about as useful as a dolphin trying to ride a unicycle through a desert. It did not work. I could barely even do it. The way my eyes were looking, it just looked like a bunch of scribbles, like a 3-year-old did it. So
Oh,
I,
that's my handwriting now, though, so I can't say much.
so now you're a doctor as well.
Yeah, that's usually the joke I go with. It's like, yeah, I should have been a doctor.
Yeah, so my dad took me to the ER because the school never even called him because I could only move it like a little bit. Like I couldn't even move it that much. I could maybe move it a centimeter.
Oof.
It was bad, and they never called him. I go home like, hey Pop, I need you to take me to the hospital for what? I hold up my hands like, what the hell happened? So I tell him, he's like, I'm like, did the nurse not call you? No, the nurse didn't call me. Well, she said it's not broken because I can move. It's like, oh, we'll see about that. And he took me
Oh,
to the hospital, and they X-rayed it, and to nobody's surprise, it was broken. So they had to move
gosh.
it to like splint it and all that, and it hurt. I mean, I was cursing. The nurse, like, not cursing the nurse out, but it's like it hurt because broken bones are not fun. They don't tickle.
Yeah.
And my
I
dad,
luckily have never had to deal with that, but I'm sure it's not very fun.
no, it's really not. So my dad remembered about how I was interested in Yu-Gi-Oh. So he stepped outside while the nurse was doing her thing, and he called my mom. And he's like, "Hey, do you mind if we stop by Toys R Us so I can get Steve?" Well, I guess now you know my real name. Oh, well, it's not like the first time I've ever said it on the channel. Um, some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and she's like, "Yeah, that's fine. Why not?" And that's what he did. We went to Toys R Us. I picked out a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and I went home. And the deck I had, I don't remember the name, but I remember it had the Battle and Boxers. It had digital bug crash or something. It's like a ladybug. No, Crash Bug Road. That's what it was called.
Mm.
Then it had like dimensional things. It almost looked like a wormhole with like a Mewtwo looking character in it. You know who I'm talking? I think you know the card I'm talking about.
Probably. I'm trying to think. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, and then the boss was it was Spiral Serpent. It was like a 28K vanilla.
Hmm.
And I never knew
I
how to
used to like that card. That card was pretty fun. If you use
Yeah.
the deck on that with the actual spirals.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about having that card sent to get signed by you when you do your next fan mail opening.
Yeah, I hadn't really talked about the fan mail stuff in a while, so I need to get back on that because I've only really been using it for like business stuff now, so I need to start doing that kind of stuff again. It would be pretty fun.
Yeah. And then I never really learned how to. I never seriously got into Yu Gi Oh! Until years later, which actually, speaking of getting into Yu Gi Oh! Something I think they should do. This is. Did you see the Majesty Lord set when it came out for the V series for Card Fight?
Uh, like the actual deck of cards, or
Yeah, it was a special set. It came with the deck, a deck box, and sleeves, and it was like $50, I think, give or take.
yeah, I think I actually bought one of those because I thought he looked really cool, and I heard that, and I was thinking, hey, that would be a cool idea for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, that was me and the last guest I had, Guardian 285. We were talking about that for Yu Gi Oh, and I feel like because Konami really doesn't do beginner things anymore that I've noticed. Like they do structure decks. When was the last time we actually had a starter deck?
Uh, I don't know. I guess maybe whenever they did like the reloaded Yugi and Kaiba, I feel like. I mean, I feel like the speed duel stuff kind of took the place of that, like for beginners. But then we don't get a lot of speed duel stuff. Like we're finally getting something for them. I think like a year later. with
Yeah,
this GX box, so
yeah,
it's
but
taking quite a while.
see, the problem is though, going from speed duel to master duel, there's a lot more you have to take in.
Hmm.
So what we had come up with, and this will be cool, is if you get a beginner friendly deck, so whether it be like Salamangreat or Altergeist or hell, even Stellar Knights, you get a playset of everything you need, like not max rarity, like give you like base rarity stuff,
Hmm.
give you like a 10 or 15 card side deck, give you a 15 card extra deck, some sleeves and a deck box for like I don't know maybe 50 $60, and
Yeah, or
then
even if they didn't do the side deck stuff, like if they could just do at least the main deck and extra, kind of
right,
like it's like they were close to it when they did the Knights of the Round Table box for the Noble Knights. Like
yes,
they had a good idea there, it just didn't execute it too great.
yeah, and my problem is like I mean the 2019 they hit it out of the park with Yu-Gi-Oh. They had the
Hmm.
2019 Mega Tins that were a top seller. I remember my girlfriend bought me a tin of that for my birthday, and I pulled a Boral sword. And I never realized how hard that card was to pull at the time.
Yeah, that was like a one per case, I think, probably on that one.
Yeah, and
Something.
I got it from Wal. She had got it from Walmart for me, and I opened it, and I pulled a Boral sword out of I think the second pack. I'm like, oh, cool. Anyway, not
Cool
realizing,
looking dragon.
yeah, not realizing how good it actually was until I was watching. I think it was your opening, and out of like 5 tins, you didn't get one. And then people were like, "Oh, that's a rare pull." I'm like, so I pulled a. I swear that's beginner luck. Or
Oh
people
yeah.
who don't buy steel product always pull the best cards.
Hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things like if you never go to a casino before the first time you do, then all of a sudden, you jackpot or something. It's one of those
Yeah,
kind of things.
it's funny because me and my buddy went to GameStop and we each bought because the way it works, at least up here, is the Power Pro reward members get a $5 off coupon every month.
Hmm.
And what I did was in the Pokemon packs were I think $4. So I used my coupon just to get a pack. And I because they have the cardboard things that the pack sits in.
Hmm.
So me and my buddy each got a pack and I like the art of the cardboard. I'm like, yeah, I'll get this one. I pull a full art Corviknight V Max. I'm like, hey, is this any good? And I even call him like, watch, I want to get something good. This is going to be the beginner's luck. Watch. And it happened. Granted, it's
That's
like a
usually
three
how it
dollar.
goes.
It's a $3 card, but that's another thing. Yu-Gi-Oh really needs to do like extended art cards.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't yet. The closest thing I've seen is like the gold Rush rares that came out for
Yeah,
Japan for Rush Duels. I mean that
Rush
seems to be like the really the close thing.
Rush duels need to come to the U.S.
I I would like it in some ways, but also I feel like it's too late now. They waited too long,
Yeah, I feel
so I don't
like
know.
I think kind of the one video you had said where it was the Japan's version of our speed duels, but the problem is
Mhm.
speed duels. I mean, yeah, they're faster, but I cannot say how many times I confused speed duels with turbo duels.
Yeah,
I think everybody did.
yeah. Everyone got confused. I remember when it was first announced, how people honestly thought that's what was going on. They're like, "How is this gonna work?" Because that's what it did sound like. They were like, "Okay, I guess we're getting Speed World and the whole thing."
And then people realize it's just Duel Links IRL.
Yeah. Which I think is honestly kind of cool. I mean, I think it's kind of a nice break from normal Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. I know the locals I go to for speed duels, like a lot of people what they'll do is if the card is released in speed duel, they don't really care if you use the master duel version. So if you
Mhm.
have like an ultimate rare playset of Sphere Karibo, you can run that in your speed duel deck because it's in the game.
Yeah.
At least my locals doesn't care because I wish for the Dark Magician we would have gotten the original art instead of the tablet one.
Hmm.
So I know a lot of people. I just want to buy a playset of the Ultimate Rare tablet Dark Magician just to have it.
Yeah, at least it's, I think, fairly cheap still right now. I'm sure in the future it's going to be
Yeah, I know.
crazier.
Ultimate Firewall is like a $30 card,
Mhm.
and I really like the original art of Firewall. It's kind of funny because I bought it for like $5, and I thought that was crazy back then.
Mhm.
It's not like I totally spent 97 on access code and like $40 for Ash Blossom and like over $200 to complete my Code Talker extra and side deck and all. No, we're all responsible
Yeah.
adults.
Who needs to eat this month?
I mean, exactly. I mean, I got my hunting
Ramen's
rifle.
cheap.
I got my hunting rifle somewhere.
Yeah. Or if you don't have one, just hit something really hard with your car.
Yeah, but then I won't have a car.
Well, make sure it's small enough so it doesn't wreck the car. How about that?
But uh, I don't even remember what I was saying anymore. But
I have that effect.
but oh yeah, so basically I like the original art of Firewall. Oh yeah, I remember I was going to this. I had bought Firewall when it was banned
Mhm.
because I wanted to have every ace monster. So I
Mhm.
have Dark Magician, Neo, Stardust, Utopia, Odd Eyes, and now Firewall. And I had kept Firewall in hopes someday it would get unbanned, which ultimately
Yeah.
it did. And I actually went to locals with it because I had never got rid of the card. I saw people put it on like fireworks and like lighting the cards on fire. I was like, why would you do that? Watch, it's going to come back. Then you're going to have to pay a lot more money to get it. And
Yep.
look what happened.
That's pretty much the Yu-Gi-Oh community on there.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought $5 was nuts at the time. Now I'm spending way more than I should. I will admit that one.
We all admit it. We just still do it.
Exactly.
That's the
But
problem.
exactly. But for me, it was when Firewall came back, I went to locals with it, and I don't go into Firewall much in my combos. It's more that's kind of my backup Link 4. I do want to get a copy of Avermax,
Mhm.
and because I want to try to upgrade Code Talkers more, I need a playset of Iblis, and I need to get another copy of Balinks and all that. As I did buy the Soulburner structure deck,
Mhm.
just because of the Ash Blossoms, at that time, I was not willing to drop the money for it like I am now.
Yeah. Then that all changed.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous how Ash Blossom is still like a $20 card when it's a common.
Oh yeah. It needs just like a really good reprint where it's gonna be, I don't know, like some kind of side set or something just has a bunch of them as commons.
I
I think that's the
mean,
only way.
we could always try to buy that legendary Kaiba case.
Oh god. Don't bring that up.
I just did.
Oh no. I remember so many people buying their case and then getting play sets, and I was like, "Oh, well, good. I'll probably get a play set too." And all this because at that point I don't think I had any because I think it was like the first reprint of Ash Blossom.
Or was it the actual first printing? I don't remember.
Oh, it was the first reprint because it was in Maximum Crisis. I want to say the pack was Zark on the front of it.
Yeah. I know for me it's funny because I remember finding your channel and it's like I always listen for your voice and it's like plus I kind of knew the thumbnail design and
Hmm.
then eventually you were kind of my default go-to YouTuber. Don't tell Team
Hmm.
APSC or DZ if I said that one.
Oh, no, tell
Yeah, well, it'll be my luck.
them.
It'll be
Come on,
my
you got to take your wins when you can get them.
exactly. It's gonna be my luck. Somebody's gonna tag them in this video.
Tag them.
But
Come on.
yeah, exactly. But I had actually started but I was actually saying about my YouTube channel. I have that problem. I'm going on one thing, then my brain sidetracks to something else, and then I completely forget where I was going.
Mhm.
But my original channel, I did a whole bunch of random videos, and then years later, and then once Kappa fully, like once YouTube started putting Kappa in effect fully, I took down all my older videos because
Yeah.
I didn't want to risk having find systems. I started my channel when I was 15. I don't have the money and resources to exact. I mean, I don't want to say I don't have the resources, but I don't got the type of money to drop on a good lawyers. Good lawyers cost you thousands. I don't got
Yeah.
that. No, tell me who has that type of money that's not rich.
I'm about to say Mr. Beast is the only one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When I started my channel, I thought I could easily get up to like millions of subs, and then I realized that's not how that works.
No, it'd be nice, but unfortunately,
Yeah, I feel like the people who get real big, like Mr. Beast and the Paul family and PewDiePie and um, what's his name? The PewDiePie's the one that does the bro fist, right? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
yeah, that's right.
Jacksepticeye, like all these guys who are real, like what I guess is called YouTube famous nowadays.
Hmm.
Is they started when YouTube first came out. Like they were the first creators on the platform, so they grew
Hmm. I think
as
that era has kind of changed and kind of is over, unfortunately, now.
and something I think you had brought it up, or was it Black Moon? I forget who it was that brought it up, but YouTube doesn't really do much for their smaller creators. Like, they only care about the creators that make them money. So, smaller channels like mine and like even like yours and like the people who don't make YouTube a ton of money, they just kind of don't even bother trying to help us. But, Mr. Beast posts a video, YouTube will throw it around like, it's candy at a child's birthday party and everybody sees it.
Yeah, especially if you are on the Tonight Show or something. They do a lot of that paid stuff, even more than even YouTubers. So,
Yeah, and it's hard because I started doing the card game stuff. My first I did yeah, now I can't talk. The video that really blew up was my two I was interested in Messiah, and I built a Messiah deck using two Messiah Dragon and Rebirth decks,
mhm.
which is a couple upgrades thrown in, and that really blew up overnight basically. And then I started doing dedicating my channel to the card game stuff. I mean, channels like yours and DZeefs and Team APS and all did have a part to play. But I
Mhm.
realized, since I spent a lot of time in the card game stuff, it just made sense to do the video I'm passionate about.
Yeah, which is always good.
Right, and I've tried a bunch of different things. Like I've tried, pack openings. Those didn't do too good. I've done deck profiles, which those seem to be where I do my best. I've done like product reviews, like the gear I use for Vanguard, which is not really changed. I still use Dragon Shields. I still use, I'm still a Dragon Shield main. I love the Dragon Shield sleeves. I like deck boxes. I'm not in a particular allegiance to. I want to try the Nest
Mhm.
dice. I don't have a particular thing. I just use random dice, whatever I can find.
Yeah.
One time, me and my buddy, we decided to be real stupid and we rolled like 15 dice at one time just to see who went first.
Oh god.
I mean, that was hilarious though because this was actually on over like the virtual thing like we're doing now.
Mhm.
And me and him were being stupid. I'm like, I'm gonna roll three dice. Like, no, if you do that, I'm rolling four. I'm like, then I'm gonna roll five. Then we just kept on getting more into more ridiculous numbers, and so we decided to roll like 15 dice, and that was just it was stupid, but it was fun.
Yeah, that's the best kind of fun though too.
Yeah, I know. I had seen. I think I remember you did a video where you showed how you store your decks in your deck collection. I'd made a
Mhm.
comment about the Vanguard, so I'm not sure if you saw it. Will you ever do a Vanguard deck collection on all your Vanguard decks, even if it's from like the G era and before?
I might. I mean, I really only have like one though, unfortunately. Like
Yeah,
one or two. So I mean, I didn't get into it as much, unfortunately.
Right. I remember seeing a bunch of your videos where you opened up a ton of packs and all the decks with like all the like the what's it called, the trial decks and all that stuff
Hmm.
that they came out with. I thought for sure you would have had more, but I remember somebody responded like, "Well, Cyberknight might not have that many since he mainly does Yu-Gi-Oh," which is fair.
Yeah, I just never like for card fight. I was always a little bit more of a collector. I had like a couple of decks really, but I never kept up with meta or like what decks to make. So it's with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's the only one that's like, I can buy packs and stuff and I can usually build something. And on some of the other ones, I usually need kind of a base to go with to kind of understand what I should go with
Yeah.
because Yu-Gi-Oh is the one I pay attention to the meta the most.
Yeah, I really don't get at the highest I go is locals. I built Luard in the V series, which is actually it just got hit with it just got choice restricted with Charon. The
Mhm.
main was a choice restrict already. Basically, Charon was a free counter charge, and it was a free +3 on board. Because what you would do is you would ride into your grade 2, use his skill to counterblast 1, call out the Charon from the deck. Then the Charon Soul Blasts your grade 1, countercharges, and becomes an 11k.
Mhm.
Which may not sound that bad, but Luard on the second grade 3 ride would put out huge numbers. I'm not sure if you saw that or not.
I don't remember. Again, I just never caught as much stuff about card fight.
Yeah, the card fight is where I've been a lot. The
Mhm.
main reason I jumped ship is because at the time I just felt like Yu-Gi-Oh was in a really. I jumped over when MR4 was still a thing because I personally didn't like the fact that you had to use link monsters or else you just couldn't really play, and a lot of decks were killed because of it.
Yeah, I think that was a bad choice by them.
Yeah, they had to sell link summoning somehow. I know this
Mhm.
the MR5. I the joke I called is it's the true Master Rule 4. This is what Master Rule 4 should have been.
Mhm.
But they had to sell Reigns and link summoning somehow, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like how, they always do that though. Whenever there's a new form of summoning, they get rid of anything that could be a problem for it. It's kind of like how
Right.
Excite on Night was hit before pendulums and stuff.
But
There's always something.
the problem is though when synchros were released, you weren't forced to run synchros. You could run them, but you could still use your fusion monsters. When Xyzes
Mhm.
came out, you weren't forced to run them. They made your deck better, yes, but you weren't forced into them like you were Lynx.
Yeah, and at least Xyz worked with like every deck. So.
Yeah, and that's why I think Xyz is my favorite summoning mechanic out of every summoning mechanic. Pendulum, not oh my god, Link, no, brain, hello, reset, please. Xyz is probably my favorite summoning mechanic.
Mhm.
Personally, I have to say my top five favorite Xyz decks would be Raid Raptors, Galaxy Eyes, Phantom Knight, um, Utopia, and I'm trying to think of the fifth one. I can't really think of the fifth one right now, but Galaxy Eyes are such a cool concept. I know they're your favorite right up with Dragoonity.
Yeah, they're probably in my top three or something. I would say by now. It's tough to choose.
Yeah, but I really love the Raid Raptor strategy. The Raid Raptors, I fell in love with them when I saw them in Arc 5.
Mhm.
Especially the Shay versus Sora or Shun versus Sora, whatever you want to call it. Just
Yeah,
the passion,
that
like the
that
utter,
one was pretty
the
cool because
yeah,
that was a crazy duel.
the utter hatred Shay showed. Just he went full out. He didn't even hold back.
Mhm.
I still think my one favorite moment from the dub was when two of my two favorites were both in the synchro dimension. One when Yuya and them show, I was like, wait, so people play card games on motorcycles? That I started laughing because it's like they actually referenced the abridged.
Yeah.
And then my second favorite scene was when it was Shun versus Dennis in the dub, where if you remember, the track was destroyed, and
Hmm.
Not Shay, what's his name? Dennis basically said, if I hit one more pothole, I'm going to lose my mind. I think the only reason I laughed at that one is it was a 4K Media's way of basically taking a jab at the United States road systems. Because I swear to
Yeah.
God, there were so many potholes, it's a joke.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, if I wanted to go on a bumpy road, I just end up, I go dirt biking. I don't exactly want to have to replace my bumper trying to go to work.
Yeah, have to replace all your tires and everything.
Yeah, I saw people coming up with ways of doing jokes to get the people to fix the potholes, like doing graffiti on them, turning them into things.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. It looks pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, I know I know your two, at least two of your favorite decks I know is Galaxy Eyes and Dragoonities. What's your what would you say your top five is, honestly?
Let's see. Probably in this order, I would say Dragoonity. Right now, probably Galaxy is two, Heroes for three, for Noble Knights. I like originals a little bit more than Infernoble.
Yeah.
And five right now, actually, that's a tough one. I might actually go with like the Kraken deck basically because I've really enjoyed using that on Astro Duel, which is basically
Mm.
another Xyz deck, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, my top five I would definitely have to say is Code Talkers, Rockets, Pendulum Magician, Raid Raptors, and probably my fifth one would have to be, it's kind of a three-way tie between Sky Striker, Altergeist, and Alglitch.
Mhm.
It's not in that order exactly, but I mean, Code Talker sits in number one. That's been the deck I've been playing since 2017.
Sky Striker though, come on.
And there are plenty of waifu archetypes out there.
We all know Silent Magician's the best one though. So.
I mean, I think I really like Sky Striker because it reminds me of Luard in a way. Because if you remember how the OG Luard was with Ritual, once you
Hmm.
basically had three grade ones in the drop zone, you were online. Sky Striker, it's once you have three spells in grave, you're online.
Hmm.
Plus, it's one of those things. It's a unique deck. I mean, yeah, Alglitch and Altergeist are too. You never see decks running traps. I know that's the joke that trap cards aren't good anymore.
Yeah, because they're just a little bit too slow in today's meta. Well, most times they're too slow. Eldritch is like the only deck that's really showing that. Maybe that's not entirely true.
Right. I mean, but the difference is though, with Alglitch, I mean, yeah, it's good to use interruptions, and the one hit I still don't understand on the recent ban list is Desires. I
Hmm.
I just can't understand. Like Grand Maju, I had built a Grand Maju deck and I was running three Desires. I don't maybe I just don't pay attention to the meta, but Desires didn't seem like it was doing much. I feel like Prosperity and Extravagance is run in more decks than what Desires is.
Oh, I think a lot of it has to do too, and I hate to say it, but with what's making money right now too, and we know those others have, Desires has had its reprints, and the others are still like going to be big reprints later. So
Yeah, that's what I've
that probably has
noticed.
a lot to do with it.
I think it was Simo who said it that the Konami who runs the TCG ban list uses it more for business decisions, whereas
Hmm.
in the OCG they actually use the ban list to actually deal with the problematic stuff.
Hmm.
And I think there is some truth behind the TCGs. If you notice, like they brought Monster Reborn back when the Lost Star promotion happened.
Yeah.
And Monster Reborn, it's good, but there's a lot of archetypal reborns now. You don't really see the reborn, like the actual Monster Reborn card anymore.
Yeah, there's a
Outside
few
of,
people that don't use it. I still think it's worth it because it's like usually, especially later in a duel, if you're in a mess, you can draw that and even take one of your opponent's monsters from the graveyard and
yeah,
then just win.
I know I have so many copies of Monster Reborn. I remember out of my Megaton, the one I put the Boral Sword out, if I had gotten Prismatic Secret, Rare, Raigeki, and Reborn, which I really like the prismatic look.
Hmm.
And then I pulled
Yeah,
in the
I like those
Beeroo.
tins for those promos too. Those promos were really good.
Yeah, I don't like the fact they changed it. That now the promos are in the packs. I don't
Yeah,
like that change.
the value's not as good, really.
Right. The other thing I don't like is, and I know other people are probably going to are not going to like this, but I hate, well, they might agree, but I hate that Konami's been doing the nostalgia thing for the past 2 years now.
Yeah, I wish they'd kind of move on to some other things. Like, I feel like the History Archive collection is a pretty good start. Like, yeah, we still have some original stuff, and they're going with like the Bandai arts, but at least it's giving support for basically every season.
Right, my problem is, like, they've been milking Yugi and Kaiba for the past 2 years. I mean, I get it.
Hmm.
Yugi, Kaiba, Blue Eyes Dark Magician. They're the faces of Yu Gi Oh!
Yeah.
Pikachu and Charizard are the faces of Pokemon.
Hmm.
Blaster Blade and Dragonic Overlord are the faces of Vanguard. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, but Greymon is the face of Digimon. I think I never really got into Digimon too much.
Yeah, pretty much the Greymon line. It feels like War Greymon a little bit more, one of his evolutions, but still,
Right,
like it's still he's their Pikachu, kind of thing.
right, and I only got it. I only saw a little bit of Digimon of Evolution. It's where they had like the iPod looking things for the Digimon. If you remember what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think it was Savers. I think that one was Savers.
I don't know, but you know, there's a difference. I mean, they don't milk like Yu-Gi-Oh's been Konami's been milking it for the past 2 years, and it's annoying. Like, yeah, they're doing other things, but when you really look at it, they're still doing a lot of Blue Eyes and Dark Magician stuff. And
Hmm.
as cool as the archetypes are, can you just give us something else? Can you stop? You know, it's almost like they're beating the dead horse way too much.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like you said with Charizard, I know Charizard's still the big thing for Pokemon, and
Right.
it's just printing money basically.
What the difference
It's kind of
is,
what they do.
right, but the Pokemon Company doesn't milk it all the time. They know when to put a Charizard in circulation versus when not to.
Hmm.
That's the thing, I gotta give it to. And the other thing is, I don't know why other card. You know what? I think what they should really do for Master Duel is take a page out of Pokemon's book. It's Pokemon, whenever you buy a pack or you buy any sealed product, they give you a code to redeem the same product on the Pokemon Online game. So
Hmm.
you can literally, like, let's say you buy 2 copies of the Zacian V League Battle Deck. You can literally put your Zacian V League Battle Deck onto Pokemon TCGO, and then you can put two of them. You can build the deck, and then you can actually play it online and have that same deck sitting next to you, so you can test it and see what needs to be changed.
Hmm.
Magic doesn't do that. They have Arena. They still have yet to do that. Yu-Gi-Oh has Master Duel now. I think this is also for the Magic, community as well. If Wizards of the Coast and Konami actually implemented that, I feel like their seal product sales would skyrocket.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty good. I know, man, they seem to always have their stuff on the shelves, though, at the very least. I swear, that's like, there for a while, that was the only card game I could find.
Yeah, I heard rumors that Walmart and stuff and Target and them were going to stop selling the cards because I forget where it was, but somebody pulled a gun and there was almost a gunfight and a shootout over trading cards.
And unfortunately, it's not very surprising these days.
I don't even remember
Everyone's
where that
crazy.
was, but
Oh, who knows?
I can't even say I was too surprised. Like, are you serious? People are pulling guns and knives for $4 cards. Like a pack of cards costs you $4, and you're trying to rob somebody when you could go on. Well, granted, stuff was price gouged, but
Mhm.
it's literally $4 cards. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but to a lot of people, it's still, people are crazy.
Yep. I swear, what we need to do is we need to move to a deserted island. Nobody finds us. Basically, we become the real life Gilligan's Island.
Dual Academy.
Yeah, I wonder what's. I wonder what's. Although speaking of Dual Academy, for Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, I can't lie, I don't like the new art style they went with.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I hadn't watched any really of Sevens, though. I've seen what they look like, but it
I
looks a lot like Bakugan to me or
I don't.
something.
These new cartoon art styles, I don't really. I'm not a fan of it. To me, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always had this art style to it
Hmm.
that whenever you see Yu-Gi-Oh, whether it be the original up to Reigns, its art style stayed consistent for the most part, except
Hmm.
when they changed to the CGI monsters, but the characters were still hand drawn. I think I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I
I
think
don't.
so.
I don't do that. I can barely draw a stick figure.
Same.
I mean, people see the tattoos on my body and they're like, "Hey, did you draw that?" No. Trust me, if I could draw this, I could make a killing. But no, I don't. I can't draw this detailed stuff.
Be awesome if I always wish I could, but yeah, not so much.
Yeah,
Not actually able to.
basically we were at a point where oh yeah, I remember where I was going with this. So Sevens has a more childish art style. I mean, I get it. I get it's supposed to be a children's card game. But how many
Mhm.
children do you know can actually get into Yu-Gi-Oh and understand it when adults can barely get into it and understand it?
Yeah, there's just too much to keep up with these days,
And I'm not trying to
especially with
say,
all the forms of summoning.
yeah, and I mean kids are smart these days. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I got a little cousin who can literally who taught my grandmother how to use her phone.
Hmm.
But if I were to hand somebody my DDD deck once it's done, one, they need to know how cards interact, chain linking, chain blocking, timing, missing the timing, all that, all the unwritten rules of the game. It's just
Hmm.
too much for anybody. And that's why I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh has a hard time getting new players in because it's like they just get overwhelmed because then you have like the spell speed stuff or speed spell whatever it's called,
Yeah,
like how like
they
certain
built out.
cards react faster than other cards. Like that's something that people don't understand all the time, like chain blocking and chaining cards. Some people I've seen some people think when you chain link, like just an example in part of my combo, um what's his name, code generator chainlink 1, codec chainlink 2, xcode chainlink 3, people will think it goes the way the numbers go 1 2 3, not 3 2 1.
Hmm.
And then they're so confused when it's like, okay, Xcode, lock this zone, codec, search something, and then generator, mill something. They're like, oh, that's not how that's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be the other way. I actually had
Yeah,
somebody new to Yu Gi Oh! Do that to me at locals. They called it a judge, which the judges were the workers, but a lot of the players there knew rulings. And this guy's like, my opponent's like, this guy cheated. And I'm like, well, how did he cheat? And he explained what I did. Like, no, that's how chaining works.
yeah.
And I mean, I
That's how
feel,
crazy everything is.
yeah, I mean, the summoning mechanics weren't that hard to understand, for me at least.
Mm-hmm.
Probably when links came out, I got confused because I thought you could use, like, for example, you could use Honeybot to go into another link too, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really the case unless you're playing Solomon Greats with the reincarnation link summoning. But
Yeah.
I remember I was doing that for a while. It's funny, when I started Vanguard, I thought rear guards could drive check. I thought you didn't have to discard for the PGs.
Mm-hmm.
It was when I was fighting somebody one of my friends last night, and I had attacked with, I think it was because I was playing no CL. I attacked with one of my rear guards, and I went back to that mindset for a second. He blocked. I'm like, all right, that's a one pass. He's like, wait, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm like, oh crap, great, rear guards don't drive check.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing? That was funny.
Oh gosh.
I bet we've all been there. We've all made mistakes with the card games.
Oh yeah. Especially when you play a bunch of them too, it gets all confusing.
Oh man, I remember I played Yu-Gi-Oh! I played Battle City rules with a limitless monster zone. This is before I learned there was only 5 monster zones, 5 small trap zones. Me and my buddy had out like 10 different monsters. It's well, obviously we really didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Whoopsie. Yeah.
Yeah, I know this. I mean, I know the series is more called vantuber interview, but what I've noticed is I don't. I mean, the first one I did with Black Moon, that was more like a question answer, and then the second episode I did with Guardian, it was more kind of like this format, just kind of like talking, asking the questions as we go.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of prefer the talk, like the kind of this feels a lot more natural. It doesn't feel like you're at a job interview or something.
Yeah. A little bit more relaxing.
Yeah, because I mean, the first episode definitely went well, at least in terms of the recording. The views say otherwise. But then again, too, the VanTuber stuff doesn't really do that well, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's because I'm a small channel or whether it's just nobody's that interested.
It feels like these days it's. I don't know. I feel like Pokemon and Magic do a little bit better on views these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the thing, my channel's Vanguard based. I mean, I do YouTube here
Mm-hmm.
and there. I did a budget Cyber Dragon deck profile, and I remember actually, so a lot of these budget videos I had seen were running like 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier in a budget deck.
Mm-hmm.
And at least the last time I checked, it could have changed, but Galaxy Soldier is like a $30 card.
Yeah, I'd say that's one that seems to always be pricey.
Yeah, and I remember looking around, I'm like, there's no way people who are just starting out are going to have 30 like $60 for 2 cards. And I was
Yeah.
looking around, and then I looked at Quick Draw Synchro. I'm like, wait, level 5, discard to special summon. This is basically Galaxy Soldier. So I
Mm-hmm.
put 2 copies of it in, and it works pretty well in my testing. So I threw it in, and the Cyber Dragon deck is really cheap. You can buy 3 of the Cyber Strike stuff and get the majority of the deck. The only cards you would need to buy extra is the Xyz package and the link package.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, thankfully they get quite a few reprints for Cyber Dragons.
yeah, the like I mean I run Boral load. I mean I could put access code in, but access code I think at that time was still I think access code was still a $50 card.
Mm-hmm.
And no, if nobody's going to pay $60 for 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier, name one person who's actually going to pay $60 for a single card.
Yeah.
So I just put in Borreload because that was a pretty good alternative.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, I've never played meta, and I just don't like playing meta because I feel like it's a lot of pressure. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like you have to have the best cards. Like you need to have Droplet, you need to have Triple Tactics, you need to have Prosperities, you need to have what else is there that's really expensive at the moment? Lightning Storm. Like, you need all these cards that cost hundreds of dollars because Konami short prints them, and
Yeah, we need like another Dual Devastator. That was one of the better, I feel like, products because it did give a lot of reprints to extra deck stuff and like side deck and all kinds of stuff like that.
yeah, that's another problem with learning Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the whole side decking because nobody tells you how to like nobody ever shows you how. That's what I've
Hmm.
always noticed. Nobody, maybe there is videos out there, but nobody ever tells you how to build your side deck.
Yeah, I feel like it's not as common. Of course, it's kind of hard to tell people because it kind of depends on what. I feel like in most cases, what you are going to encounter at your local tournament.
Right, like I know for me, originally my side deck was just cards I wanted to run, but I never had room for.
Hmm.
Now my side deck is like different hand traps because at least in my locals, a lot of like Phantom Knight and like invoked Shadala decks run around.
Hmm.
I'm totally not thinking about building invoked Albaz or anything.
Oh god.
I actually have it on Dueling Nexus, and that seems like an interesting deck.
Yeah, that when that Albez structure deck comes out, though, oh, gonna be a lot of fusions going crazy out there.
Yeah, my whole thing, like, so I have, like, Nibiru's, and believe it or not, actually, I decided to run 3 copies of Sphere Mode instead of a Kaiju. And
Hmm.
people, I was showing somebody my side deck, trying to help them learn, like, why do you run 3 copies of Sphere Mode instead of Kaiju's? Because a Kaiju only gets rid of one. Sphere gets
Yeah.
rid of 3 problematic cards.
And these days they spam so much that it's a little bit better. I feel like to have sphere mode right now at the very least.
Yeah, and Nibiru is one of those cards. Nibiru can be a double-edged sword. It can help you
Hmm.
get rid of your opponent's board, but if you can't beat over the token or you have no way of getting rid of the token, you
Hmm.
basically just hand your opponent that free W.
Yeah, you have to be careful on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know. I remember when Ash Blossom was really impactful, where if a deck was ashed, the deck couldn't play through it, and
Hmm.
you had to end your turn. Nowadays, you have decks that can play through 9 negate, like 6, 7 negates. Like good decks these days have to play through all that,
Hmm.
and it's
Yes,
ridiculous. How many
especially on
negates?
Master Duel when you have Mexi and Ash Blossom. There's a lot of different stuff you have to do with them.
I know a lot of people. I never played in a format with Max C except on Master Duel. And I know a
Hmm.
lot of people. I know that's the most common like civil war in the community. You have your people that say it can come back to 3. Then you have your people that say, it has to stay at 0.
Hmm.
I have no personal allegiance. I don't get in the middle of that because it's not worth it. If
Yeah,
Konami brings it back, they bring it back. If they don't, they don't.
I feel like it probably shouldn't. I'm of course I'm kind of tired of the hand trap stuff. So.
Yeah, I remember when I first got into it originally, when I was trying to buy cards, I was trying to build basically like a Yuya deck. Then I
Hmm.
actually played Pendulum Magicians, like pure Pendulum Magician. And the ashes and stuff were really annoying to try to play through because at that time I was still trying to learn how decks worked and all that.
Hmm.
And it's hard because when you're new, people always say, "Oh, just what's your play style?" What do you mean, what's my play style? Do you like big numbers? Do you like controlling the board? Do you like? And if you're a brand new player to a game, how the heck are you supposed to know what your play style is?
Yeah, the only way that actually helps, though, I guess, is if you play a different card game.
Right.
Then you could say, okay, well, if you play this in Magic, maybe you would like this kind of thing.
Right, like for
Otherwise, it's very difficult.
I've once I discovered my playstyle of aggro, when I jump to Vanguard, I have Zodiac Time Beast, which is an aggro style deck, especially
Hmm.
the Heritage. Heritage, if you have 4 Zodiac Time Beast G units, you get a whole nother turn.
Hmm.
So basically, that's pretty powerful, and that can easily get you to win because your opponent has to guard a lot. Because Zodiac can bounce things back and forth between the bind zone and the field,
Hmm.
and it's hard because at least when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, starting trying to learn how to build decks, people were like, "Oh, well, what's your playstyle?" It's like I don't know my playstyle. I haven't really figured that out. And then
Yeah, that's kind
basically,
of the tough part.
you're stopped in your tracks, and it's like, how am I supposed to build a deck if I have no idea what my play style is?
Hmm.
And I prefer aggro beatdown decks, but I do enjoy DDDs, which are combo. I do enjoy Altergeist and Eldritch. I never thought I would,
Hmm.
and it's kind of funny because my friend's been trying to teach me Infernity. Yeah, that is
Yeah,
ridiculous to try to learn.
those can be kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know my friend walked me through it, and I think I ended on a. I had a, what was it? I think I had like 9 negates. I had a 4 material Appaloosa, 3 Infernity Barrier, the breakdown or whatever it's called, Infernity Break something,
Hmm.
and one more negate. Oh yeah, Savage negate, and
Oh
it's
god,
like that's ridiculous, and it was so hard to do the setup, and my brain was hurting at the end of that combo.
no wonder.
It took like a 10-15 minutes just to do the whole thing. If I was my opponent, I would have just scooped because I would have ended up being bored to sleep.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those where you have to do all these different combos, and after a while, it's like, where am I? That's what I
Deep,
feel like with Drytron. It kind of is one of those decks too, where it's just like, oh
I
boy,
know
you just set up for Herald.
I was playing Drytron, not Drytron. I haven't played that deck. I was playing Rockets on Master Duel. My opponent was playing Drytron, and my opponent brought out the level 12 Drytron, like their boss,
Hmm.
and then I uh sealed it. I used the Heavenly Spheres to just bounce it back,
Yeah,
and they scoop because it's like they couldn't do nothing.
yeah. They're just like, okay, I'm done.
That's the only thing I really can't stand about Master Duel is anytime somebody's losing, it's just like they scoop.
Yeah, but to a certain degree, I guess that's basically Yu-Gi-Oh. If you play it anywhere, I feel like that happens a lot. I think that's just how it is.
Right, but I feel like it's more prevalent on Master Duel. And when the Xyz Festival was going on, you had a lot of people playing these self
But yeah, the self
TK,
harm. Yeah.
and that wasn't fun. It was basically they just. I remember I think I was playing Rockets in it because that's where I was mainly playing. No, it wasn't Rockets. It was my Raid Raptors,
Hmm.
and it was a lot. It wasn't as good because I didn't have the cars to the material to craft the Link Monster and the what was it, the Phantom Knight Raid Raptor Claw, the rank
Hmm.
up for both the rank up spell for both Phantom Knights and Raid Raptors.
Hmm.
And my opponent literally I had a air raid. My opponent was using what's the name of that energy chain or chain, the one Bakura used in the original to basically tie the guards up.
Hmm.
You
Yeah, I
know
think I know which one. Where
yeah.
like every time you summon or something, I think you hurt yourself or
Yeah, and basically my opponent did all these summons and then crashed into my Savage Dragon and just died. It's like, what fun was this? It was really fun when I actually went up
crazy.
against somebody with an actual like good deck, not good deck, but like didn't try to self TK.
Yeah, they'll actually play the game.
Yeah, and like it was a back and forth, and finally my opponent got the upper hand. And I took the L. It's like what, my opponent worked hard for this.
Hey, at least it's actually a duel.
Yeah, at least it's not a self TK. I basically
Yeah,
became
anything's better now.
Vegeta. I basically became Vegeta, who was about to who accepted his fate to be killed by the God of Destruction. And I mean, it was at least it was a duel. Up until then, it was self TK, self TK, self TK. It's like, will you stop playing self TK and actually play the game?
Yeah, at least they fixed it so it kind of stopped
Yeah,
uh fairly quickly.
yeah. So that's the one thing I
I
gotta
was
give
surprised.
Konami is they actually have been on top of Master Duel lately. I mean, I'm glad we actually have an official like simulator now.
Hmm.
I'm like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Duel Links, but the problem with all the games they've had was it was always about the anime, and a
Well,
lot of
Duel Links 2
people,
is its own format, so that kind of gets boring too, to a certain degree. Like sometimes it's fun to do something different, but
yeah, like Duel Links. I remember when it was just the original and GX, and now we have 5Ds and Zexal and Arc 5.
mhm.
And now you have all these, crazy decks running around on Duel Links, which I don't mind. I don't play it that often. I really wish we had turbo duels, even if it wasn't like on like rate. Imagine NASCAR with Yu-Gi-Oh mixed in.
Oh god, a lot of wrecks.
Yeah, but even if they did something like that, where not like racing, like maybe it was actually like people on like bike, not like sports bikes,
Mhm.
but like actual like pedal bikes or bicycles doing that.
Yeah.
And like they actually did something like that where they had like the comms and everything so they could hear.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah,
even
I
if
think
it's just
that'd be
like
pretty cool.
sitting at a table, but you did like a turbo duel format where you kept track of your speed counters like you do in Digimon
Hmm.
with your memory. That would be cool. But sadly, I don't think we'll ever get turbo duels IRL.
Yeah, we just basically need just more formats, and I think that would bring a lot more to it.
Actually, now I think about it, have you heard of a Project Atem?
I don't think so.
It's these guys who are trying to create kind of like a Zexal thing where it's like you have like a dual gazer type thing, and it's AR, so or
Hmm.
is it VR? It's one of the two. Where when you summon a card, it actually has like it pops up and has like an animation and everything.
Oh yeah, I might have seen some kind of trailer thing on that or something,
I can
like
never.
demo thing.
I don't understand why they never did that.
That'd be pretty cool. I just don't know if there would be enough. Like if there's enough money to do that, or I don't know. I wonder. Probably just
Yeah.
don't see a need to put in the effort on that. I don't know. It'd be cool.
Could you imagine if Konami actually did that? Like help them?
Yeah, that'd be really neat.
Yeah, I really wish Konami would have done something like that. I mean, I wish they would have actually released Dual Deck. Oh my god, what brain? Work! not, not what I just said. Dual discs for every season, not the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, we have the Yugi dual disc, we have the GX dual disc, we have the Orichalcos dual disc, we have the Yusei dual disc, which is basically just like a re-release of the Battle City dual disc, just can't separate.
Yeah.
We have Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's dual disc. I
It'd be
never,
really cool if we had those all the time. Like even if they made like just the plastic ones or whatever and sold them like at GameStop, like they re-released the original.
yeah, like they actually have a Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's dual disc. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that there was, of course, Japanese only, but
Yeah,
I'd like to try to get one of those at some point for a video.
my favorite dual disc I like the Arc 5 dual disc. I wish we would have got something like that. Probably
Hmm.
my favorite dual disc. They couldn't do it IRL because of the way it worked, but the Reigns dual disc, how it was all like kind of holographic. Like you drew the card and then like you kind of just swiped your hand or something, and your hand just appeared in front of you.
Hmm.
Like obviously that couldn't work in real life because obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
it's not there. Yeah.
We're not in like the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not in the Matrix. We're not in like Sword Art Online. That won't work.
Hmm.
But that was probably my favorite thing that they came up with. It kind of reminded me of Kaiba's dual disc, like the way he had his dual disc in the Dark Side of Dimensions.
Yeah, I think it kind of was a playoff of that, or that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, that's what I really like. Like that I really like.
Hmm.
Probably the one I really wish they would release, even if it was even if it was just like an exclusive or something, would be the Diadanks that we
Mm,
saw in season 5.
yeah. Oh, I better get going pretty soon too.
Yeah, I didn't realize how late it was over here. I think
Yeah,
this is
it's pretty
where.
late over here. I
Oh,
gotta get
that's.
my butt kicked on Elden Ring before I go to sleep too.
But I really do appreciate you coming on. It was actually an honor having probably my favorite, Yugi tuber come on the channel after I've only mentioned your channel, 10,000 times.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy my channel.
Yeah, I think I enjoy your channel the most because you're more. I feel like I enjoy the YouTubers who are more like the Yugi tubers who are more laid back and chill, which is more my personality.
Hmm. Not
But
as much yelling.
yeah, like I love Team Samurai X1, but this is no. I'm not trying to, you know, kind of make
Mhm.
jabs at Sam, but the way like he's super hyper all the time, and there are times where like I'm trying to watch a video, and Sam's like screaming into the mic like we're at a wrestling match. It's like if I wanted to hear yelling, I would go to a wrestling event.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, I'm gonna end it here because Cyber Knight needs to get his butt kicked for cheating on the Dark Magician Girl pillow.
True.
I am not letting that joke go. And anyway, I will be posting another video with an update on like where I've been, why I haven't been uploading. And until then, I will catch you later. Thank you again for being on. See you
Oh, no
next
problem. Thanks for
video.
having me.
Yep, see you next video.